I want to see other people. 4 words that changed everything. I'm Eddie Russo, and I've been staring at the ceiling of my auto shop for the past 3 hours, replaying that conversation with my wife Jenna. She delivered it like she was ordering coffee, casual, matter of fact, like she'd been rehearsing it for weeks. An open relationship, she'd called it, standing there in our kitchen wearing that black dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. We're both adults, Eddie. We can handle this maturely. Maturely. Right. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead as I work on Mrs. Patterson's Honda. It's past midnight, but sleep isn't happening tonight. My hands move automatically. Socket wrench, oil filter, drain pan, while my mind churns through the details I'd been too shocked to process earlier. The way she couldn't meet my eyes, the new perfume, those late nights at work conferences that started 3 months ago, the phone calls she'd take in the bathroom. I should have seen it coming. Eddie, you still here? Mick's voice echoes from the office. My childhood friend and business partner pushes through the door, carrying 2 cups of coffee from the all-night diner down the street. Figured you might need this. Mick O'Brien has been my best friend since we were 12. He's the kind of guy who shows up without being asked, asks no questions when you need space, and somehow always knows when to bring coffee. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Thanks. I accept the cup gratefully. Couldn't sleep. Want to talk about it? I tell him everything. About Jenna's announcement. About how she'd already moved her things into the guest bedroom. About the lawyer she'd consulted, just to make sure we both understood our rights, she'd said. Mick listens without interrupting, his weathered face growing darker with each detail. She's got someone already, he says when I finish. It's not a question. Yeah, I think so. You know who? Not yet. But I will. Mick nods slowly. He's been through a messy divorce himself, knows the drill. What are you going to do? I set down my coffee and pick up the wrench again. She said she wants to see other people. So I'm going to give her exactly what she asked for. Meaning? Meaning she's about to learn that some games have consequences she didn't consider. The next morning, I'm up at 6. Jenna's already gone, probably stayed at her friend Monica's place. Good, it gives me time to work. First stop, the bank. I withdraw half of everything from our joint accounts, my legal right according to Detective Harris, who's been bringing his patrol car to my shop for years. The other half I leave untouched. I'm not a thief. Second stop, the credit card companies. I remove myself as an authorized user from Jenna's cards and remove her from mine. Again, perfectly legal. Third stop, the phone company. I transfer my number to a new account and cancel the family plan. By noon, I've changed the locks on the house and packed Jenna's remaining belongings into neat boxes on the front porch. The note I leave is simple. You wanted independence. Congratulations. E. My phone starts ringing at 12:47 p.m. Eddie, what the hell is going on? Jenna's voice is shrill, panicked. My cards aren't working and there are boxes on the porch. I'm giving you what you asked for, I say calmly. Freedom, independence, the single life. That's not what I meant and you know it, isn't it? You said you wanted to see other people. I assumed that meant you wanted to be other people. You know, independent adults who pay their own bills and have their own places. Eddie, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm being very reasonable. I'm also being single, as of today. Good luck with your new life, Jenna. I hang up and turn off the phone. Mick finds me in the shop an hour later, grinning like a maniac. You should see the look on Mrs. Kessler's face, he says. Mrs. Kessler is our 70-year-old neighbor who knows everyone's business before they do. She's been watching those boxes on your porch like they're going to explode. Let her watch. She'll have plenty to see in the coming days. You've got a plan. I've got the beginning of a plan. The rest depends on what Jenna does next. What Jenna does next is show up at the shop with Brent Callahan. I know Brent by reputation. He's a real estate developer who thinks his BMW and expensive suits make him God's gift to women. He's also married, though apparently that's as flexible a concept for him as it was for my wife. They walk into my shop like they own it. Jenna's wearing sunglasses despite the cloudy weather, and Brent has his chest puffed out like a rooster. "Eddie," Jenna says, her voice artificially sweet, "we need to talk. We talked yesterday. I thought we covered everything." Brent steps forward. He's got maybe 2 inches on me, but I've been working with my hands for 20 years. He's got soft gym muscles and a spray tan. "Look, buddy," he says, "Jenna's going through a tough time. Maybe you could be a little more understanding." "Buddy?" I set down my wrench slowly. "I'm sorry. I don't think we've been introduced." "You are?" "Brent Callahan." "Right. And you're here because?" Jenna jumps in. "Brent's a friend. He's been helping me through this transition." Transition. That's what we're calling it now? The temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Brent's jaw tightens, and Jenna's face flushes red. "Eddie," she says, "don't be like this." "Like what?" Like a husband who just found out his wife has been planning to cheat on him for months? Like a man who just discovered his marriage was a lie? Like someone who's tired of being played for a fool? It's not cheating if what? If you ask permission first? If you give it a fancy name? If you bring your boyfriend to my workplace to intimidate me? Brent steps closer. "Nobody's trying to intimidate anyone." I laugh. Actually laugh. "Oh, that's rich. You show up at my shop, in my space, with my wife, talking down to me like I'm some kind of child, and you're not trying to intimidate me?" "Maybe we should go," Jenna says quietly. "Yeah," I agree. "Maybe you should." "And Brent? Next time you want to have a conversation with me, come alone, man to man. Leave the woman out of it." They leave, but I can see this isn't over. Brent's pride is wounded, and Jenna's realizing that her carefully planned transition isn't going as smoothly as she'd hoped. That evening, I'm having dinner at Murphy's Pub when Monica slides into the booth across from me. Monica Chen has been Jenna's best friend since college, and she's got the kind of fake smile that could cut glass. "Eddie!" What a coincidence running into you here. "Monica, let me guess, this isn't actually a coincidence." Her smile falters slightly. "Jenna's worried about you. She says you're not handling this well. I'm handling it fine. I'm handling it exactly as well as a man should handle discovering his wife's been lying to him." She wasn't lying. She was trying to be honest about her needs. I take a sip of my beer and study Monica's face. She's nervous, fidgeting with her phone. "Her needs," I repeat. "Right. And what about my needs? Did anyone consider those?" "Eddie, you have to understand." "I understand perfectly." Jenna wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She wanted the security of marriage and the excitement of affairs. She wanted me to pay the bills while she played around. She wanted me to be understanding and supportive while she disrespected our vows. Monica's phone buzzes. She glances at it quickly. Probably a text from Jenna asking how it's going. "That's not fair," she says. "Fair?" I lean back in the booth. "You want to talk about fair?" Fair would have been Jenna asking for a divorce if she wasn't happy. Fair would have been honest communication about problems in our marriage. Fair would have been not making me look like a fool in front of the entire town. Nobody thinks you're a fool. Really? Then why are you here trying to manage me? Why did Brent feel the need to come to my shop and explain things to me like I'm some kind of child who doesn't understand what's happening? Monica doesn't have an answer for that. "Tell Jenna something for me," I continue. "Tell her she got exactly what she asked for. She wanted to see other people? Great. She's single now. She can see whoever she wants. But she's going to do it on her own dime, in her own place, with her own resources." "Eddie, please!" I'm not the bad guy here, Monica. I'm just the guy who stopped playing along with a game where I was the only one following the rules. She leaves after that, probably to report back to Jenna that I'm being unreasonable and vindictive. Good. Let them think that. They have no idea what unreasonable and vindictive actually look like, but they're about to learn. The next few days are quiet. Too quiet. Jenna's staying with Monica, and Brent's keeping his distance. But I know this is just the calm before the storm. They're regrouping, planning their next move. I'm planning too. Detective Harris stops by the shop on Thursday morning. Tom Harris has been a cop for 15 years and a customer for 5. He's also divorced, so he understands the battlefield I'm navigating. Heard you and Jenna are having some troubles, he says, leaning against the counter while I work on his cruiser's brakes. Word travels fast in this town. Monica's been telling everyone who'll listen that you're being unreasonable. Thought you might want to know what people are saying. I look up from the brake pads. What are they saying? Mixed reactions. The women are mostly sympathetic to Jenna. They think you overreacted to her honesty. The men. He shrugs. The men think you should have seen it coming and handled it differently. Differently how? Most of them think you should have fought for her, made some grand gesture, tried to win her back. I laugh bitterly. Win her back from what? From the guy she was already sleeping with while she was married to me. Tom raises an eyebrow. You know for sure she was cheating? I know she didn't come up with the open relationship idea in a vacuum. And I know Brent Callahan didn't just happen to be available to comfort her through this difficult transition. But you don't have proof. Not yet. Tom nods slowly. He's been a cop long enough to understand the difference between knowing something and proving it. Word of advice, he says. Whatever you're planning, keep it legal. I like you, Eddie, but I won't be able to help you if you cross certain lines. I'm not planning anything illegal. I'm just planning to give my wife and her boyfriend exactly what they deserve. Which is the truth. About themselves, about each other, and about the consequences of their choices. That afternoon, I pay a visit to Mrs. Kessler. She's in her garden, pretending to tend her roses while actually keeping watch on the entire neighborhood. Eddie, dear, she calls out when she sees me. How are you holding up? I'm managing, Mrs. Kessler. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you something. Her eyes light up. Mrs. Kessler loves being asked for information almost as much as she loves giving it without being asked. Of course, dear. What can I help you with? I'm trying to piece together some things about the last few months. You know, trying to understand when Jenna started changing. You're so observant, I thought you might have noticed things I missed. She practically vibrates with excitement. Oh, Eddie, I've been wanting to talk to someone about this. I didn't want to interfere, but I've been so worried about you. What did you notice? Well, it started around Christmas. That's when the late nights began. And then in February, I started seeing that silver BMW in your driveway when you weren't home. Brent drives a silver BMW. How often? Oh, at least twice a week, sometimes more. Always during the day when you were at work. I thought maybe Jenna was having work done on the house, but I never saw any contractors. When was the last time you saw the BMW? Tuesday. The day before you changed the locks. It was there for about 3 hours. 3 hours. The day before Jenna asked for an open relationship, she spent 3 hours with Brent in our house. In our bed, probably. Mrs. Kessler, you've been very helpful. I appreciate your honesty. Eddie, dear, I hope you don't think I was spying. I just worry about the neighborhood, you know. I want everyone to be safe and happy. I know. And I'm grateful you were paying attention. That evening, I meet with Pete Martinez, Mick's cousin who works in IT for a local company. Pete's got skills that exist in a gray area between legal and illegal, and he's willing to use them for the right cause. I need information, I tell him over beers at Murphy's. Phone records, credit card statements, hotel reservations. Anything that can help me prove what I already know. You want me to hack into their accounts? I want you to find information that's already public or obtainable through legal means. I'm not asking you to break any laws. Pete grins. I like the way you think. What do you need specifically? I need to know where Jenna's been spending her time and money for the past 6 months. I need to know the same about Brent Callahan. And I need to know if there's any connection between them that can be proven. Give me a week. While Pete works his magic, I focus on more traditional intelligence gathering. I start frequenting the places Jenna and her friends hang out. The wine bar downtown, the expensive coffee shop near her office, the yoga studio she joined last year. I don't approach anyone directly. I just listen. And what I hear is enlightening. Jenna's been painting herself as the victim in this situation. According to her version of events, I'm a controlling husband who couldn't handle her need for independence. She's been telling people that she asked for space to work on herself, and I responded by kicking her out and cutting off her money. The story is carefully crafted to make her look sympathetic and me look like a monster. But stories have a way of evolving when people tell them multiple times. And Jenna's friends aren't as discreet as they think they are. At the wine bar, I overhear Monica telling someone that Jenna's friendship with Brent has been a real source of strength during this difficult time. She mentions that they met at a real estate conference last year and really connected on a professional level. At the coffee shop, I hear Jenna's co-worker Alexis discussing how Jenna's been glowing lately and seems really happy despite everything. She mentions seeing Jenna and a handsome man at an expensive restaurant last month. At the yoga studio, the instructor mentions that Jenna's been missing a lot of classes lately because she's been traveling for work more often. Piece by piece, the picture becomes clearer. This isn't a recent development. Jenna and Brent have been involved for months, possibly since last year. The open relationship request wasn't about honesty or personal growth. It was about legitimizing an affair that was already happening. By the end of the week, Pete has compiled a comprehensive report. We meet at the shop after hours to go through it. Your wife's been busy, he says, spreading printouts across my workbench. Credit card records show regular charges at the Marriott downtown, always on weekdays when you would have been working. The charges started in January and happened almost weekly until last month. What changed last month? That's when the charges moved to restaurants and bars. Looks like they got more confident about being seen in public. He shows me another set of papers. Brent Callahan's records show the same pattern. Hotel charges that match your wife's timeline, restaurant bills for 2 people, even some jewelry purchases that coincide with times when your wife posted photos of gifts from a friend on social media. They documented their own affair on Instagram? People are stupid when they think they're being clever. Look at this. He shows me a series of photos from Jenna's social media accounts. In January, she posted a picture of expensive flowers with the caption, "Someone knows how to brighten a girl's day." In February, it was a bracelet with "feeling appreciated." In March, a photo of a fancy dinner with "Life is good when you're with good people." The metadata on these photos shows they were all taken at locations that match Brent's credit card charges, Pete explains. Same restaurants, same dates, sometimes within minutes of each other. They gave me a timeline of their entire relationship. Better than that, they gave you evidence that this was planned. Look at this. The final piece of Pete's report is the most damning. Text message records, obtained through legal means he won't specify, show conversations between Jenna and Monica dating back to December. She was planning to ask for an open relationship 3 months before she actually did it, Pete says. And Monica was coaching her on how to approach it. I read through the messages, my anger building with each exchange. Jenna, I can't keep sneaking around. It's getting too complicated. Monica, so don't sneak. Be honest about what you want. Jenna, Eddie will never go for it. Monica, then you present it as a mature, modern approach to marriage. Make it sound like you're doing him a favor by being honest instead of just cheating. Jenna. What if he says no? Monica. Then you know where you stand, and you can make decisions accordingly. The last message in the chain is from 2 weeks ago. Monica. How did he take it? Jenna. Better than expected. I think he's actually relieved. This might work out perfectly. I set down the papers and look at Pete. How legal is all this? Legal enough. I didn't hack anything. I used public records, social media posts, and information that was voluntarily shared with third parties. A good lawyer might be able to challenge some of it, but it would all be admissible in a divorce proceeding. I'm not planning a divorce proceeding. I'm planning something much more satisfying. What's that? I'm planning to give them exactly what they asked for. They wanted honesty. They're going to get more honesty than they can handle. They wanted their relationship out in the open. I'm going to put it on display for the entire town to see. Pete grins. I like the way you think. What do you need me to do? Nothing illegal, but I might need some help with social media management in the coming weeks. Say no more. I'm in. That night, I sit in my empty house and plan the next phase of my campaign. Jenna and Brent think they're smart. They think they've outmaneuvered me. They think I'm just a simple mechanic who doesn't understand their sophisticated approach to relationships. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The game is just beginning, and I'm playing to win. Saturday morning brings the weekly farmers market downtown. It's the kind of place where everyone sees everyone, where news spreads faster than gossip at a church social. Perfect for what I have planned. I arrive early and set up at Murphy's coffee stand, which gives me a clear view of the entire market. Mick joins me with his girlfriend Sarah, a kindergarten teacher who's been nothing but supportive since this whole mess started. You sure about this? Mick asks, handing me a coffee. I'm sure. They want to be public? Let's be public. At 10:30, they arrive. Jenna and Brent walking hand in hand like they're starring in their own romantic movie. She's wearing a sundress I bought her last summer, and he's got his arm around her waist like he owns her. They're putting on a show, making sure everyone sees them together. Fine. I can play that game too. I wait until they're at the flower stand. How poetic, before I make my move. I walk over casually, like I just happened to notice them. Jenna. What a surprise seeing you here. She freezes. Brent's grip on her waist tightens. Eddie. Hi. And Brent, right? Good to see you again. How's the real estate business? Fine, he says curtly. That's great. Hey, I wanted to thank you both. They exchange glances. Thank us? Jenna asks. For being so honest about your relationship. I mean, it takes real courage to be open about these things in a small town like ours. People are starting to notice. A small crowd is gathering, pretending to shop while actually listening to every word. Eddie, Jenna says quietly, maybe we should... No, really, I continue, raising my voice slightly. I think it's admirable. How long have you two been together now? 6 months? 7? Brent steps forward. Look, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I embarrassing you? I thought you wanted to be open about this. I mean, that's what the whole open relationship thing was about, right? Honesty, transparency. Mrs. Patterson from the post office is openly staring now. So is Jim from the hardware store, and Martha from the library. Half the town is witnessing this conversation. You're being ridiculous, Jenna hisses. Am I? I'm just trying to understand the timeline here. See, I found some interesting things when I was going through our old credit card statements. Turns out you've been very busy this year, Jenna. Lots of hotel visits, fancy dinners, expensive gifts. All while we were married, of course, but I'm sure that's just a coincidence. The color drains from her face. Brent's jaw is clenched so tight I'm surprised his teeth don't crack. I think we should go, Brent says. Why? We're just having a friendly conversation, among adults, about adult relationships and adult choices. I turn to address the growing crowd. You know, folks, I've learned a lot about modern relationships lately. Apparently, marriage doesn't mean what I thought it meant. Apparently, for better or worse, has some fine print I missed. Eddie, stop, Jenna pleads. Stop what? Stop talking about your relationship? But I thought you wanted it to be public. I thought you wanted everyone to know how happy you are with Brent. We are happy, Brent says, trying to assert some control over the situation. That's wonderful. How long have you been happy together? Because I'm trying to reconcile the timeline here. Jenna asked me for an open relationship 2 weeks ago, but the credit card records show you two have been, let's call it, getting to know each other, since January. The crowd murmurs, this is better than reality TV. That's not, Jenna starts. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get the timeline wrong? Let me check my notes. I pull out my phone and pretend to scroll through it. Hotel charges starting January 15th. Restaurant bills for 2 people starting January 22nd. Jewelry purchases in February. That was a lovely bracelet, by the way, Jenna. You posted such a nice photo of it. She looks like she wants to disappear into the ground. And then there are the text messages, I continue. The ones where you and Monica discussed the best way to ask your husband for permission to legitimize the affair you were already having. You went through my phone? She gasps. I didn't have to. You documented everything on social media. Turns out when you post photos of your secret relationship online, it's not very secret anymore. Brent grabs Jenna's arm. We're leaving. Sure thing. But hey, Brent, next time you want to have an affair with someone's wife, maybe don't use your credit card at the same hotel she's using hers. Just a tip from one man to another. They push through the crowd, Jenna's face burning with embarrassment, Brent muttering something under his breath about lawsuits. I turn to the crowd with a shrug. Modern love, folks. Complicated stuff. The crowd disperses slowly, buzzing with excitement. This story will be all over town by dinner time. Mick appears at my elbow. Holy shit, Eddie. That was brutal. That was just the opening act. My phone starts ringing before I even get back to my truck. Monica, probably calling to scream at me for embarrassing her best friend. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail is exactly what I expected. Eddie, what the hell is wrong with you? How could you humiliate Jenna like that in public? She's devastated. You're being cruel and vindictive, and everyone can see it. This isn't going to end well for you. I delete the message and drive home. That afternoon, I get a visit from Tom Harris. He's not in uniform, which means this is a friendly visit, not an official one. Heard you caused quite a scene at the farmer's market, he says. I had a conversation with my wife and her boyfriend. In public, about their public relationship. Eddie, I'm going to give you some advice as a friend. Be careful. What you did today was legal, but it was also cruel. People are starting to talk, and not all of it is sympathetic to you. What are they saying? They're saying you're bitter. They're saying you're trying to destroy Jenna because you can't handle losing her. They're saying you're making yourself look worse than her. I consider this. And what do you think? I think you're playing a dangerous game. I think you're smarter than you're letting on, and I think you have a plan. But I also think you're walking a tightrope between justice and revenge, and it's a long way down if you fall. Noted. Anything else? Yeah. Brent Callahan called the station this afternoon. He wants to file a harassment complaint against you. For what? Having a conversation in a public place? He says you're stalking them, following them around, confronting them in public, trying to intimidate them. Am I being charged with anything? No. There's no evidence of stalking or harassment. But Eddie, if you keep this up, if you keep pushing, eventually you're going to cross a line. And when you do, I won't be able to help you. I understand. After Tom leaves, I sit on my porch and think about his warning. He's right. I am walking a tightrope. But I'm not worried about falling. I'm worried about not going far enough. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You're going to regret embarrassing us like that. I screenshot the message and save it. Then I text back, looking forward to it. That evening, I drive past Monica's apartment. Jenna's car is there, along with two others I don't recognize. Probably an emergency meeting of her support group, strategizing about how to handle the fallout from today. Let them strategize. While they're playing defense, I'm planning my next offensive move. Because Tom Harris was right about one thing. I do have a plan. And today was just the beginning. The backlash comes fast and hard. By Monday morning, I've received 17 phone calls, 12 text messages, and 8 emails from various friends and acquaintances, all telling me what a terrible person I am for embarrassing Jenna in public. The general consensus seems to be that while Jenna may have made some mistakes, my behavior at the farmer's market was unforgivable. I'm being painted as the villain in this story, the bitter, vindictive husband who can't accept that his marriage is over. Fine. If they want a villain, I'll give them one. I'm working on a transmission rebuild when Alexis walks into my shop. Jenna's co-worker has never spoken to me directly before, so this should be interesting. Eddie, we need to talk. I don't look up from my work. About what? About what you did to Jenna on Saturday. About how you're handling this whole situation. How am I handling it? Badly. You're making yourself look terrible, and you're hurting people who don't deserve it. Now I look up. People who don't deserve it? You mean like me? The husband who didn't deserve to be cheated on and lied to for months? Jenna wasn't cheating. She was trying to be honest with you about her feelings. I set down my wrench and give Alexis my full attention. Let me ask you something. How long have you known about Brent? She shifts uncomfortably. I don't know what you mean. Sure you do. You work with Jenna. You probably went to lunch with her, listened to her talk about her problems at home, maybe even gave her advice about how to handle her difficult husband. Jenna's personal life is none of my business. But my personal life is? You came here to lecture me about my behavior, so apparently you think it's your business. I came here because I care about Jenna. She's a good person who made some mistakes, and you're destroying her over it. I'm destroying her? I'm not the one who had an affair. I'm not the one who lied for months. I'm not the one who tried to manipulate the situation to make myself look like the victim. You humiliated her in front of the entire town. I told the truth in front of the entire town. If that's humiliating, maybe she should have thought about that before she decided to cheat on her husband. Alexis's face flushes red. You're impossible. No wonder Jenna wanted out of this marriage. There it is, I say calmly. The real reason you're here. You didn't come to defend Jenna's honor. You came to make me feel bad about myself, so I'll stop fighting back. That's not... Let me save you some time, Alexis. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I know exactly why I'm doing it. Jenna wanted to play games with our marriage? Fine. But she's going to play by my rules now. What does that mean? It means she's going to learn that actions have consequences. It means she's going to discover that you can't cheat on someone and then expect them to be grateful for your honesty. It means she's going to find out what it feels like to be on the receiving end of public judgment. Alexis stares at me for a long moment. You're really going to destroy your own wife over this? I'm not destroying anyone. I'm just refusing to be destroyed myself. After she leaves, I call Pete. I need you to do something for me. What's that? I need you to create some social media accounts. Nothing fake, nothing illegal. Just some accounts that can share public information with interested parties. What kind of public information? The kind that shows what really happened in my marriage. The kind that provides context for all the sympathy Jen has been getting. You want to tell your side of the story? I want to tell the whole story. With documentation. That afternoon, Pete sends me links to 3 new social media accounts. Truth About Open Relationships, Modern Marriage Reality Check, and When Honesty Isn't Honest. Each account has a simple mission statement: to share real stories about the consequences of infidelity and deception in marriage. The first post goes live at 6 p.m. Case study number 1, when open relationship really means legitimize my affair. The post includes a timeline of Jenna and Brent's relationship, supported by publicly available evidence. Credit card records showing hotel visits that coincided with work conferences. Social media posts showing expensive gifts that appeared during the same time period. Text messages discussing strategy for approaching the open relationship conversation. Everything is presented factually, without editorial comment. Just the timeline, the evidence, and the question, is this what honesty looks like? The post gets shared 47 times in the first hour. By Wednesday, the accounts have hundreds of followers, and the posts are being shared throughout our social network. People are taking sides, arguing in comments, sharing their own stories of infidelity and betrayal. Jenna's narrative is crumbling. The sympathy she'd been receiving is evaporating as people see the evidence of her deception. The focus is shifting from my cruel behavior to her dishonest behavior. Monica calls me Wednesday evening, furious. Take down those posts, Eddie. Right now. What posts? Don't play dumb. Everyone knows you're behind those accounts. I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you referring to some social media accounts that are sharing publicly available information about infidelity and marriage? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're destroying Jenna's reputation. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just providing context. People were making judgments based on incomplete information. Now they have all the facts. Those are private matters. Were they private when Jenna was posting photos of gifts from her lover? Were they private when she was discussing strategy with you via text message? Were they private when you were telling everyone at the wine bar about her friendship with Brent? Monica is quiet for a moment. What do you want, Eddie? I want people to know the truth. I want them to understand what really happened in my marriage. I want them to see that I'm not the villain in this story. And then what? What happens when you've destroyed her completely? Then she'll know what it feels like to be where I was 2 weeks ago. Alone, humiliated, and wondering how the person she trusted most in the world could betray her so completely. You're sick. I'm honest. Something your friend should try sometime. Thursday brings a new development. Brent shows up at my shop alone this time, looking like he hasn't slept in days. We need to talk, he says. Do we? About what? About ending this. About you backing off and letting us move on with our lives. I continue working on the engine in front of me. I'm not stopping you from moving on. You're free to move on anywhere you want. You know what I mean? The social media campaign, the public confrontations, the harassment. Harassment? I haven't harassed anyone. I've simply shared truthful information about a situation that affects me directly. You're trying to destroy us. Now I look at him. No, Brent. I'm trying to make sure people understand what kind of people you are. There's a difference. What do you want? Money? An apology? What will it take for you to stop this? I want you to experience the consequences of your choices. I want you to understand that actions have repercussions. I want you to know what it feels like to have your life turned upside down by someone you trusted. I never asked you to trust me. No, but Jenna did. And you helped her betray that trust. Brent runs his hands through his hair. Look, I'm sorry about how this happened. I'm sorry you got hurt, but we can't change the past. We can only move forward. You're right. We can't change the past. But we can make sure the past has consequences. What does that mean? It means you're going to live with the results of your choices. Both of you. You wanted to be together? Fine. Be together. But be together as the people you really are, not as the victims you're pretending to be. And if we refuse to play your game, I smile. You don't get to refuse. You're already playing. You started playing the day you decided to sleep with my wife. I'm just changing the rules. Brent leaves without another word, but I can see the fear in his eyes. He's beginning to understand that this isn't going to end the way he thought it would. That evening, I get a call from my lawyer. Apparently, Jenna's hired an attorney and is considering filing for a restraining order. On what grounds? I ask. Harassment, stalking, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Can she make any of that stick? Probably not. You haven't done anything illegal. But Eddie, I have to ask, what's your endgame here? What are you trying to accomplish? Justice. That's not a legal term. Then call it consequences. Call it accountability. Call it making sure that people can't destroy other people's lives without facing any repercussions. And when you've achieved that, when they've faced consequences, what then? Then I'll know that the next person who thinks about betraying their spouse might think twice. That's a very expensive lesson to teach. Some lessons are worth the cost. Friday brings news that Jenna's been fired from her job. Apparently, the social media posts raised questions about her judgment and professionalism. Her company decided they couldn't afford to have someone with her reputation representing them. I should feel satisfied. Instead, I feel empty. But I'm not done yet. The final act is still to come. The call comes Saturday morning. Jenna crying, desperate, begging me to meet her for coffee. Please, Eddie, just give me an hour. Let me explain everything. There's nothing to explain. I understand the situation perfectly. No, you don't. You think you do, but you don't know the whole story. I know enough. Please, 1 hour. If you still hate me after that, I'll leave you alone forever. Something in her voice makes me agree. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's the hope that she'll finally take responsibility for what she's done. Maybe I just want to see how far she's fallen. We meet at Murphy's Diner, the same place where this whole mess started to unravel. She looks terrible, dark circles under her eyes, her hair unwashed, wearing clothes that look like she slept in them. Thank you for coming, she says as I sit down across from her. You have an hour. She takes a shaky breath. I know you hate me. I know you think I'm a terrible person. But I need you to understand that I never meant for any of this to happen. Which part? The affair, the lying, or the getting caught? The affair wasn't supposed to happen. It just did. Things like that don't just happen, Jenna. People make choices. You're right, I made choices, bad choices. But Eddie, our marriage was already in trouble. We were growing apart, we weren't communicating, we weren't connecting. So you decided to connect with Brent instead of talking to me about it. I tried to talk to you. You were always working, always focused on the shop. When was the last time we had a real conversation about our relationship? I study her face. Even now, even after everything that's happened, she's trying to make this partially my fault. You're right, I say. I was focused on work. I was building a business, trying to provide for our future. I thought that's what husbands were supposed to do. But what about emotional intimacy? What about romance? What about making me feel like I was more than just someone who lived in your house? Did you ever tell me you felt that way? I shouldn't have had to tell you. You should have known. And there it is. The fundamental disconnect that probably doomed our marriage from the beginning. She expected me to read her mind, and I expected her to use her words. Okay, I say. Let's say you're right. Let's say I was a terrible husband who neglected you emotionally. That still doesn't explain the lying. It doesn't explain the deception. It doesn't explain the months of planning and manipulation. Her face crumples. I was scared. I was scared of hurting you, scared of losing everything, scared of being alone. So instead of being honest about your feelings, you decided to cheat on me and then try to manipulate me into accepting it. I thought maybe we could make it work. I thought maybe if I was honest about what I needed, we could find a way to stay together. What you needed was to sleep with other men while I paid your bills. That's not fair, isn't it? You wanted an open relationship, but only for you. You wanted the security of marriage with the freedom of being single. You wanted me to be understanding and supportive while you explored your options. She's crying now, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no regret, no desire to comfort her. I made mistakes, she whispers. Terrible mistakes. But Eddie, what you've done to me, it's destroyed my life. I lost my job. I lost my friends. I can't go anywhere in this town without people staring at me and whispering. Good. She looks up, shocked. Good? Good. Now you know what it felt like to be me 2 weeks ago. Now you understand what it's like to have your life turned upside down by someone you trusted. But I never tried to destroy you. Didn't you? You tried to make me look like a fool. You tried to make everyone believe that I was the problem in our marriage. You tried to rewrite history to make yourself look like the victim. That's not the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. The only difference is that you failed and I succeeded. She stares at me for a long moment. What happened to you, Eddie? You used to be kind. You used to be compassionate. I used to trust my wife. Things change. So this is it? This is who you are now? Someone who destroys people for revenge? I didn't destroy you, Jenna. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences of your own actions. She stands up, wiping her eyes. I hope you're happy with what you've become. I'm satisfied with what I've accomplished. Which is what? Justice, accountability, the knowledge that you can't betray someone and then expect them to be grateful for your honesty. She walks away without another word, leaving me alone with my coffee and my thoughts. I should feel victorious. I should feel satisfied. I should feel like justice has been served. Instead, I feel empty, hollow, like I've won a war but lost something important in the process. My phone buzzes. A text from Brent. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. Jenna's leaving town. Her life is ruined. I hope it was worth it. I stare at the message for a long time before responding. It was. But as I sit in the diner, watching the place where my wife used to sit, I wonder if that's really true. Later that afternoon, I drive past Monica's apartment one last time. Jenna's car is gone. So are the boxes that had been stacked by the door. She's really leaving. I drive home to my empty house and sit on the porch, looking out at the neighborhood where I've lived for 8 years. Mrs. Kessler waves from her garden, but she doesn't come over to chat like she usually does. Word has gotten around about what I've done, and people are keeping their distance. That's fine. I never needed their approval anyway. My phone rings. It's Mick. Hey man, how are you holding up? I'm fine. You sure? You sound different. Different how? I don't know. Colder, maybe. Like something's changed. Something has changed. 2 weeks ago, I was a trusting husband who believed in the goodness of people. Now, I'm someone who knows that people will lie to your face while destroying your life behind your back. I'm the same person I always was, I tell Mick. I just have better information now. Eddie, I supported what you did. Hell, I helped you do it, but I'm starting to worry about you. Don't worry about me. Worry about the people who think they can betray the people who trust them and get away with it. What does that mean? It means the game is over and I won. I hang up and go inside my empty house. Tomorrow, I'll start figuring out what comes next. Tonight, I'll sit in the silence and remember what it felt like to trust someone completely. That feeling is gone forever, but that's okay. Some lessons are worth the cost of learning them. And I've learned the most important lesson of all. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. And when they try to destroy your life, return the favor with interest. Jenna wanted an open relationship. She got one. She wanted honesty. She got more than she could handle. She wanted freedom. She got exactly what she asked for. As for me, I got justice. I got accountability. I got the satisfaction of knowing that actions have consequences. Most importantly, I got the knowledge that I'm not the kind of person who can be betrayed and manipulated without fighting back. Some people might call that revenge. I call it education. And the lesson is over.